Often in life, we are more focused on the destination than the process and the journey. The path that leads and guides us down the trail of growth, determination, passion, and commitment. We often forget that the process is equally important to the achievement. Life, though complex, is a series of small steps leading to a story, a map, a direction, and a mission. Though it's easy to often overcomplicate the process, we must live for the journey, the steps along the way, devoted to these steps from start to finish. At the end of the day, the destination is the journey. Growth is the way. We all start at zero, and growth starts with nothing. In one of the videos we dropped a couple weeks ago, I took my Glock 19, which is this pistol right here, out to the range, and I showed you guys a paper target drill that looks just like this. So this paper target drill was all about keeping shooting simple and focusing on things that are going to help you guys move forward as a pistol shooter. And at the very beginning of that video, one of the things that I touched on is the fact that we tend to overcomplicate shooting in general. Whether you're shooting a handgun or a rifle, it's very easy to go down the rabbit hole of overcomplicating something that really at the end of the day is not that complicated. You know, maybe you are a new shooter and you're out on the range and you're experiencing a lot of downfalls. Maybe you're not hitting the target the way you think that you should. Maybe you haven't quite broken through those painful first times that you get out on the range. And make no mistake, as you're a new shooter, you're now learning a martial art. You are diving headfirst into a new skill, and you're not necessarily going to hit the range and just be awesome. I mean, some people are naturally gifted, and no matter what kind of martial arts they put their hands on, they end up doing really good right away. But for most of us, and myself included, I'm speaking from experience here, it's not easy to go out and hit the range and perform with a handgun especially. And as you're experiencing this and you're getting out on the range and you're trying to learn, you're going to sometimes be tempted to try to jump forward with maybe your gear, maybe your optics, try to supplement a lack of skill with other items. But before I dive into that aspect, I just wanted to explain why shooting is simple. At the end of the day, shooting is simply putting your sights on target and pressing your trigger without moving your sights. We get into these crazy conversations with a handgun, for example. You've probably heard it. People are saying, put 80% pressure out with this hand, 20% pressure back with this hand, always focus on the front sight, focus on the rear sight, focus on the target. You got to put this trigger, light, optic, holster, whatever. You have to carry it this way. That way you're carrying it isn't safe. You guys know what I'm talking about. You've seen these conversations where keyboard commandos are just puking information out, and it gets very complex and it gets confusing and overwhelming. And you might make decisions that aren't the best for you if you don't step back and take a breath. So at the end of the day, shooting is simple. Simple doesn't mean it's going to be easy to learn. Simple means the process is quite literally putting sights on target, pressing the trigger without moving the sights. But that takes time, and that's okay. It is okay to hit the range and do bad. It's okay to miss. That's where you want to miss, is on the range. You have an explosion going off in your hands, and it takes time for you to learn and figure this stuff out. So that's my first word of encouragement to you guys, is don't let yourself get down when you're looking around and seeing people that are excelling at shooting, those people have put in a lot of work. It takes a lot of time to do that. But the other thing that is very important, and I think I need to touch on in this video, is gear. So take, for example, the fact that here at TA Targets, we love doing videography, we love doing photography, and you can apply this to any other hobby that you might be into. It's very easy for me to look at the newest piece of camera gear and say, this is what I need to step my game up and become even better. And the trap that we fall into is believing that that piece of gear is 100% necessary for us to be able to hit whatever kind of magical goal we're trying to attain. Shooting is no different. You will find people that will be running decked out race guns and all of the coolest kit and all of the newest gear, fanciest stuff, and they suck. And the reason why is gear does not make up for lack of skill. So as you're starting out, what you need most is a handgun, if that's what you want to carry, or a carbine or an AR-15 pistol, something like this, that is quality. Definitely invest in quality gear, but you don't need something that's crazy to start learning. And in fact, I would recommend against it. Get something that's stock, put the time in. So for example, my pistol here, the one that I shoot all the time, I've been shooting this for 5, maybe 6 years. It has some Cerakote on the top of the slide, and that's because I can do that myself. I have another small business, a side hustle that does some Cerakote. So, doing the Cerakote to me was cool because I do photography. I wanted to look neat. But other than that, stock Glock, steel sights, front and rear, nothing fancy, stock trigger, no stippling, no optic, nothing. And I shoot this pistol really well. And my reasoning behind keeping this particular pistol stock was I wanted to build a solid foundation before I jump into fancy gear. Again, the gear can help once you lay the foundation, but it's only going to supplement skills that you already have invested in on the range. So don't fall into the trap that you need to build a race gun or buy all of the fanciest equipment to be able to shoot really well. Again, if you want to be a concealed carrier, get a good pistol that's reliable, learn how to use it. Get a good holster of some sort. It doesn't matter what brand, but make sure it completely houses your gun, protects the trigger guard. You're going to have to try a lot of different holsters out to figure out what you like. Figure out some kind of a light, but again, the options can be extremely overwhelming. Do a little bit of research, but don't let yourself go down the rabbit hole thinking that you have to have this one or that one or this other thing. Find some people online that are putting out good info, stuff that you can trust. The same thing can be said with a rifle. You can do a lot of work with just a simple optic and a plain rifle. This one here is an AR-15 pistol, nothing fancy. I mean, I spray painted it because, again, I like things to look cool, but at the end of the day, that's not even that important. But it's just bare bones and basic, and I can do work with this even though it is stock, it has a mil-spec trigger. That stuff is not the end of the world. And if you find people online that are telling you that you have to have this stuff to perform well, you need to disregard what they're saying and you need to focus on what matters most. And the example that I'll send you guys away with at the end of this video is if you were a guy that had 10 years of experience, put thousands of hours into shooting, but you were running a stock pistol, versus a guy with very little foundation at all, but has the fanciest, decked out, most crazy race gun on the planet, who do you think would perform better? And ultimately, the guy that puts the time or the girl that puts the time in on the range and has those fundamentals is going to be able to perform better. And then once we get those fundamentals built and we have a solid foundation underneath our feet, then as we start doing modifications and we get into things like red dots on our pistols, or maybe we stipple our frame or do other modifications to the gun, then we start to see the benefits of those modifications, but only after we build a foundation. Guys, hopefully this video was encouraging to you. My only goal here is to encourage you to get out and work on the fundamentals. Our Steel Targets can help you out with that, obviously. We want you guys to train with purpose and train with the best gear possible. Hit us up in our inbox, info@tatargets.com. Shoot us a message if you're on Instagram or Facebook if you have any questions about what we offer, or if you have any questions about just keeping shooting simple. We plan to follow up with tons of videos in these series where we help you guys dive into the gear and the different accessories and drills to run with those different weapons platforms. Definitely take a moment, guys, hit the like button, comment, and if you're on YouTube, subscribe. We appreciate it. Leave a comment down below. Let us know what kind of videos you would like to see in the future. Guys, get out, train with purpose, train well. We'll see you in the next one.